Alright guys, so in this review we're going to be talking about whether you really need a Seiko or if you're better off sometimes just getting an Homage one instead. Are you missing out on something special, or are you just saving yourself some money and getting basically the same watch? Or sometimes, in some cases, an even better one, in terms of specs anyway. So this is the third watch I've checked out from this brand, Milifortic, and this is the Milifortic S089, or I guess you could call this the Alpinist. So let's get right down into this. Comes in the standard packaging, so I'm not going to go into detail on that. And then here is the actual watch. So I think they've done a really good job of it. I absolutely love this sunburst on it. Really plays with the light nicely. So obviously I've got the green dial version, but they do two other ones as well. A black and gold, which has the same colour indices, and then also a black, which has silver coloured indices. So if you're not overly keen on the gold, that'll be the one you want to go for. But for me personally, this green one is the pick of the bunch. But let me know down in the comments, which one are you liking the look of best? So before we get into this any further, first of all let's go over the pricing. So this is actually available on their website and also on AliExpress. So I'll be leaving links to both down in the description, but I'll be going off the price on the website at the moment because that is currently the cheapest one. But if you check both, just to make sure you can get the best possible price, especially with the 11/11 sale coming up pretty soon. So it's $184, £139 and €158. So I think that's a pretty good price, especially when compared to the Seiko, which is quite a bit more. But the question is, does this one actually match up in terms of specs and overall finishing? Hopefully by the end of this review, you'll be able to answer that question. So now let's get into the review proper and start off as we always do with the dimensions. So we've got a diameter of 39.5mm, thickness of 11.5, lug width of 20, then when it comes to the lug to lug, that's coming in at 46. So some pretty nice dimensions there. Now when it comes to the weight on this supplied FKM rubber strap, that's coming in at 95 grams. And yeah, it is a little bit of an odd choice going with a rubber strap with this style of watch. So let's take a closer look at that. So we've got the Milifortic branding on the buckle. It is a brushed buckle. And then when it comes to the strap itself, it is actually a perforated FKM rubber one. Really good quality. And we do also actually have quick release on this, so if you do want to swap it out, you can do quickly and easily. Then when it comes to the case back, we've got the Milifortic branding on there again, and it is a screw down case back. And then in terms of the specs around the outside, 100 meter water resistance, stainless steel, sapphire crystal, the usual kind of stuff. So now moving on to the side profile, we've got the satin crown there with the crown guards, and then we've also got that secondary crown, which is unsigned. In terms of the case finishing, it's polished on the sides and then just brushed on the top. And then we've also got that polished bezel too. So quite a lot of polishing, so it might scratch and scuff up and gather fingerprints a bit. Nice bit of curvature to the case too. And then now we're zoomed out a bit more, you can see we've got that Cyclops on top of the crystal, which is a perfectly flat crystal. And we will be checking soon if they are both Sapphire. But now let's get onto the part of the watch that you're probably most interested in, and that is obviously the dial. And the first thing that jumps out is that really prominent sunburst, at least on this green dial version anyway. And then obviously we've got these gold coloured indices on here. They are applied, so that is nice to see. And then in terms of the actual branding, that is just printed. And then the only other text we've got on the dial is the automatic, water resistant 100 meters. And then when the light catches those indices and hands, the gold really does come out. As I say, I think they've done a really good job with the dial. So the other thing we're going to talk about is obviously that date window, because we have got a Cyclops over it as well. And you can see that's nicely aligned, and it's adding quite a bit of good magnification too. So it's not colour matched, it is actually black, but I think it still works well. So now I'll show you this inner rotating bezel in action. So no screw down on this crown, just twist it, works straight away, really nice smooth action. And because it is nice and smooth, lining it up isn't a problem. And you don't need to worry about knocking it either, it's not overly loose. As you can see, no movement when I just knock it slightly. And I'll quickly show you a couple of outdoor shots just to see what it's like in some more natural light. And again, I think it looks really good. It's just a really well put together piece. So now let's test whether we have actually got a sapphire crystal on this, on both the dial and also that Cyclops, using the trusty diamond selector too. So starting with the dial, yep, that is sapphire. Now let's check out the Cyclops, and that is also sapphire, so that's good to see. That's not always a given on AliExpress watches, so it is nice to know that you don't need to worry about that being scratched or knocked or anything. So now let's get onto the movement and talk about that. You've probably figured out what it is already. Yep, it's the NH35. So if we unscrew the crown, nice and easy to access despite having the crown guards there. Pop it out to the first position, and then we can change that date if I turn it the right way. And pop it out to the second position, second hand stops, we'll go hacking. Obviously just change the time. Pop it back in, second-hand re-engages, hand winding, all works well, no issues whatsoever, rock solid movements as you've come to expect from the NH35, and also the same movement as you get in the proper Seiko version as well. So now it's time to check out whether the Lume's any good on this or not. So we've got that nice green glow of C3, and then it is looking a little bit odd because it is actually reflecting off those little dot markers around the outside, off the crystal. So it's almost looking like some of them are doubling up. So they are quite small, so I imagine they're probably not going to last too long. In terms of the hands though, they're looking pretty good. The nice cathedral style hands, got a lot of surface area there, so hopefully that should hang on quite well. And then we've also got a bit on that second hand too. So initially it's looking pretty good, no patchiness, but the question as always is, what's the longevity like? So let's speed this up now and find out. So you're probably going to notice pretty quickly that those little dots, as you'd probably expect, are going to fade pretty quickly. But what about those hands? Are they going to hang on a good amount of time, or are they going to fade pretty quickly too? So unfortunately, they haven't quite got enough on there for me. Needs a few more layers, they're fading pretty quickly, which is a little bit disappointing because they have got the surface area to be able to add more lume there. So all that's left to do now is show you what it's like on wrist, go over the pros and cons, and then you can decide whether you want to pick one of these up or not. And here it is on my 7-inch wrist. So I think it looks really good, although I am still a little bit confused to why they went with this strap. It's a good quality one, don't get me wrong. I'm just not entirely sure it actually suits this watch though. I think they should have gone for something more like this one, which I've taken off my Boltony Paipan. I think it suits the watch far better. Nice dark brown leather strap. Definitely more in keeping with what this watch needs, I think. But let me know, do you agree or not? Or would you be putting it on something completely different? If so, what would it be? But let's get it back on the strap you're actually going to get with it, so you can see it in a bit more detail. As I say, it's a good quality FKM rubber one, and it is breathable as well. It's also quick release, so if you do want to swap it out, you can do quickly and easily. It doesn't look bad on this strap, but I think it can look better though. In terms of the head of the watch, nice compact lug to lug there, conforms to wrist, nice bit of curvature. It's not too thick either. And again, we've got that flat crystal with that Cyclops on the top, both of which are Sapphire. It seems to have a good amount of AR on it too, and it is clear AR, not that blue stuff that you sometimes get on AliExpress watches. The case finishing's nicely done, although there is quite a bit of polishing, so you might need to be careful with that. The dial looks fantastic, as I keep saying. Lovely sunburst, lovely light play with those gold indices and hands. We've got that inner rotating compass as well. We've also got that same movement that you get in the actual Seiko Alpinist, so you're not really missing out there. In terms of other issues I have, the only other one really is the lume. I would have liked to have seen them just add a bit more on those hands especially, because they could have done. There's plenty of surface area there, that just would have improved the watch and just taken it to another level. At the moment, it's a little bit of a weak point. I'm sure most people can deal with the strap because you can easily swap it out because it's a nice 20mm lug width. But unfortunately, fixing the lume is going to be a bit more involved if you do want to try and sort that. But that is it in terms of issues. So overall, I think it's a really good watch for a really good price as well. But the question is, would you be going for this, or would you be paying the extra and go for the actual Seiko version instead? Are you willing to pay that extra to get that Seiko branding? If you are interested in picking one of these up, don't forget to check out the links in the description to both their website and also AliExpress, so you can see where you get the best deal. But that's it for this one guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.